like regular jobs I feel like were never for me. So then one time my friend brought me to NXT, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything because I used to watch it back then with my dad, but then this was a whole different beast. So I went to Full Sail, watched a show, and I like fell in love. I was watching Tyler Breeze versus Sami Zayn, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is this? And it was like back in the day when like Sasha Banks and Charlotte were like the best friends with like Summer Rae and like Bailey and Alexa, and all those girls were like just like getting started. So like I've actually got to sit there and watch the evolution of it, and like obviously that's so inspiring to me because it's like they are so great, and the come up was so awesome, and I've been there along the journey to finally get to where I am now, and it's always like playing catch up. Like I wanted to do that. So it really, those people like really inspired me to to work so hard to get to where I am now, because I just happened to one day fall into it and just fell in love all over again.
That is pretty amazing to think about, right? The Four Horsewomen, and of course, the other women, as you mentioned, like Alexa Bliss and Summer Rae, really kind of inspired a whole generation. I feel like that's kind of happening right now with women's basketball, and in particular to WNBA. So if women's basketball in general was as popular as it is now back then when you got out of college, would you have maybe pursued the WNBA or something overseas, or did you kind of already feel burned out and want to do more as far as like creatively?
So I actually was trying to go to the Philippines. Like I really wanted to go play overseas. Like I saw that you could like play one more year of like ball over there, and I was like, maybe like all my friends were. I played in an all men's Filipino league actually with a bunch of my friends, and then a lot of them went over to the Philippines, and I was like, I wanted to follow them. I wanted to like I felt like that was living the dream. But then I kind of like I got a call to go to have a tryout for the WWE. So that's what kind of like like changed my mind, because it was like I didn't know if it was ever going to happen because I didn't know how it worked. Like I'm out here like, okay, I can't say this because I feel like people are going to go and find it. But like, like when I wanted to like try out for Tough Enough, or like you have to like submit videos, and I didn't know how that process worked. So like I'm out here making all these like videos, like trying to get myself noticed and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know how else to go about this. So like the next thing I can do is just go overseas, because that's what I know. That's what I grew up my whole life with. And then I got a call saying like, hey, like we want to give you a try. And I was like, oh my God, like I freaked out. I was like, this is crazy, because I was only like less than 10 months in the business like of wrestling school. So when I got that call, it was like crazy, because everyone told me like, oh, it takes you years to get a tryout, like it doesn't ever happen on the first time, like all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it's not happening for me. So once I got that call, like I was like, okay, let's do what we can.
Wow, and the rest is history. And you said you only been trained for 10 months. From what I
Yes.
understand, based on the Google machine, it tells you trained under a little team known as Team 3D, aka the Dudley
Yes.
Boys. So how was that? So how was that experience and that initiation into pro wrestling coming out of college basketball?
I mean, I should say that my first day, I should have absolutely quit, okay? Because I had no idea what I was doing. And it was the day that the Dudleys were making their DVD. Like they were filming, and it was my first day of their class. And then for some reason, Bub was like, hey, you, like, come up here and let's cut a promo. And I mean, I know how it works, but I've never done one. So like I get up there, and my natural reaction when I'm like panicking is to laugh. It's to laugh and to like, just like, freak out and not know what I'm doing. So then I start like laughing, not because I think it's funny, but because I'm panicking, because like I'm cutting it and I don't know how. And he's like, go sit down, sit your ass down. I was just like, okay, I should have quit. But after that, like my trainers and everyone there like really opened me with open arms, and I picked up so fast that that's why it just became like I wanted to work harder, because I'm someone who, like, if I fail, I want to work as hard as I can, to get better or to improve at it, and just to say that I did it. So like for me, that was like kind of like a stab to the heart. So obviously my wrestling, I worked really hard, and I fell in love with it so much more, just because I was so determined to be so good, and I just learned so fast, and that's what really like just changed everything. And it's like the transition was a little easy then, because like I was at my top peak from basketball, and like you have to be a top in your top shape, to be a professional wrestler, because there's so many things that go into it. So I feel like the transition was easy, just because team player, you know how to work well with others, you have coaches. So for me, I feel like the transition was very easy.
That's a great comparison. Of course, physically, it was easy because you were at the top of your peak athletically.
Yeah.
But imagine there's also the mental aspect, right?
Yes.
Fitting in, being kind of an outsider and everything, and then just navigating all the different things you don't expect, like the travel, the media attention, all that
Right.
jazz. So what was the biggest adjustment for you on the mental side of things?
It was just knowing that, like, sometimes you can work really, really hard, and it just may not be your time. Like, I feel like people don't realize that is like you always have to stay working hard. And Devon and Bubba always used to tell me, like, have your bags ready at the door, because you never know when they're gonna call on you. And like, you can't, in like basketball, I can become the best 3-point shooter, the best free throw shooter. I can become the leading, leading an assist. I can do whatever. But here, like, that's not something that is necessarily that you can control, which is like the harsh reality of things. Is like, yes, I can do whatever it is. I can be as different as I want, but if it's not my time, then it's not my time. And like, it's like knowing that it's not because you're bad or you're not ready, or you know what I'm saying? It's just like knowing that, like, you have to be strong, knowing that there will be a moment where it is your moment, and just hanging on to that, and like not letting anyone else get to you, or like just like let your feelings get in the way. Because I did struggle with that a little bit. It was like, dang, like, I don't know what to do. But then over time I realized, like, dang, like, I'm a champion now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
like that. Like, you can be sad and not really realize, like, that it takes a hard mental block, because that time months ago wasn't for me. But then right now I'm holding a title. That's finally my moment. So it didn't say that I didn't work hard, but you just have to know that it won't always be right when you want it to be.
That's a great mentality to have, and it would kind of be similar to like maybe like a sixth man, right? Like Jamal Crawford. Like maybe you're not always in the starting lineup, but when your number gets
Right.
called, you got to be ready to deliver.
Exactly. Because you just want to give it, because that could be the like a changing moment for you. Like, people don't like think about it that way. They think like, oh, it's just one match. But no, every match is like showing like what your potential is, or like where your future could lie. Like, it could be the changing moment for you. And I take it very seriously, because every time I go out there, I want to make sure that I'm making an impact, that I'm bringing in at least one new person who wants to watch us, because I want to be that great. Like, I want to leave a legacy there. I want to do something just so good, just because I felt like I was meant to do it.
Definitely. You and Katana Chance, great impression on SmackDown. I know it didn't go your way for the road to WrestleMania, but I mean,
Yeah.
I heard those pops. They were legit. That match was pretty damn exciting. So even though it didn't necessarily go your way for Kayden Carter, does it mean something to hear the crowd ooh and ah when you're doing those moves and kind of getting
It
all intense in it?
It does, because it's like the world can sit here and feel like, because we don't, like I said, we don't get we haven't had a lot of TV time as much as, like, higher up talents and whatnot. And to know that we can have that effect on people and like entertain people, it feels like we're doing the right thing. If they made no noise, then I'd be like, okay, then obviously we're not doing something right, or we're not good or anything. But like, it pushes me, it gives me so much more fire inside, because it's like, if you even gave us like an opportunity, if we had one chance, I'm talking about like a mania chance, a PLE chance, like anything. When I say the fire that we have inside, and we would show out, like, people are gonna be like off their seats type of deal. Like, we're waiting to unleash that cannon. You know what I'm saying? So like, even just like the little crowd and stuff like that is like, we know we're doing our job, and that we know we're getting people, even though people think like, oh, like, maybe they're not over. There's no noise. I'm like, there's noise. There's always some noise, and we're gonna always make sure that I don't care what nobody says. They can talk all that crap they want to.